snow and weather. That's about it.
Does that answer your question?
Chris Cantu, 25930 Courtney Road. The trucks, are they ever hot on site where fumes would be released, or are they ever cleaned on site?
No.
So they're never hot on site, they don't come back from a job hot or warmed up before they go to a site?
The cattle, they shut them down when they're done, and like I said, most of them, they don't come, we don't work and come back to the shop.
Okay.
Those things stay on the job site. So like if one was coming back today from Lombard, it would have been shut off at Lombard, it would have been driven. The temperature might have been, by the time it gets back there, might be a couple hundred degrees, but you wouldn't, there's no fumes or hazards or anything to that nature, no.
Where do you clean your trucks?
Well, they don't, the material, we don't, it's not necessary. We don't, are you talking about
You think
garbage
about
or
cleaning the
material?
box trucks and and things like that, or the equipment that
The
Dave
equipment,
was
like-
talking about?
Right, the like the pots that carry,
They don't, I mean, the material goes in, it gets heated up, it melts, it goes back out on the pavement. There is no cleaning with that material. There's coffee cups and things in trucks, you know, that, but if you're talking about physically cleaning asphalt material off of vehicles.
right, like every now and then cement trucks get cleaned out and you use solvents.
That's not our type of job. We don't, it's not necessary, we don't do that.
Jason Rage, Cindy Court. Did the residences and the pictures pre-exist to the business in Milkina?
They pre-exist to the business. The shop was there, and then the townhouses got built after the building was there, yes.
And what about the single families?
There was some to the west of us.
Okay, to the south and then the southeast, those are single families, right?
They're townhouses,
Flat
they're
duplexes?
yeah, they're
Here,
connected homes. I don't know.
Dave, what zoning do you currently have in Milkina?
It's an industrial zone.
Are you in I-1 or I-2 in Milkina?
I think it's I-1.
that'd be Village of Mokina though, so.
And this is like a duplex, you know, connected home.
So the business pre-existed.
Of this, yeah, of
To the
this,
home.
yes.
I'm sorry, but yes.
Arlene Shea, 11328 South Christie Drive. I just am wondering, the information we received in the mail from Will County states that you are a concrete and asphalt company. So why did we receive that information
I
from
think
the
we
county?
said repair concrete and asphalt, and you use asphalt to seal concrete on occasion, or do you not?
We use sealer, I don't know if it was misrepresented or what, but we are a maintenance company. So we seal coat and we repair the cracks on roadways.
It does
say
asphalt
concrete
and
is in-
concrete.
Yeah, it would be my
What they
mistake,
sent us.
okay? It would be my mistake on the application if it incorrectly describes Dave's business, because I prepared the application.
Okay, I have
Okay.
a copy of what we received, if anyone
Oh,
wants
no,
to
no,
see it.
I've got it here, and I think,
Yeah, we have
Chuck
copies.
correctly
Didn't
read.
get this, for some
Yeah.
reason, we've got copies.
Yeah. Ma'am?
Hi, Vicki Pito, I was just curious if you could speak a little bit to whether any alternate or secondary sites were viable or considered in this mix?
Well, I think David has been looking for sites for quite some time, but
Yeah, I have for the last, the last couple of years, I've had to actually rent space, building space to, temporary rent to store things. So, I mean, I've been doing this for a while. And it's difficult and it's time consuming, so this came available. I'm trying to remember how I found it. I think a realtor contacted me about it, and I looked at it, and it's a nice price for it, and the building is there. I don't need anything fancy. We don't have any customers coming to and from the building, so I don't want to pay a lot of money for a building, something like this when it's not necessary.
Right, you don't need a lot of show.
I don't need anything. I just need it out of the rain and the weather.
Sir,
Steven Spenning, 11440 Christie Drive. Do you own a pressure washer at all?
Do I own a pressure washer? Yes, we do.
And for the business?
Oh, yeah,
What do you use that for?
just to wash the trucks.
I thought that wasn't being done.
Well, I mean, I was answering to the material. We don't do anything with the material. There's no hazardous material.
No, but still, there is stuff on the trucks, and there's, you know, when you pressure wash a truck and stuff, there's a lot of stuff comes off of it.
Nothing more than you would your vehicle in your driveway. It's the same stuff. I mean, there is no material. The material doesn't go from where we're applying, gets sprayed on trucks. You can see pictures of the trucks, that's how they are.
Sir,
Mike Folding, 11531 South Lake Road. Are the residences in the vicinity of your current office on city water or well water?
I believe it's city water.
Just for the record, we're on well, and so that's, I think, very important to keep in mind.
Mike Blaylock, 11364 Christie. I'm curious to know what the expansion plans are for your business. Obviously, the constraints of your current property are not sufficient, so I would want to know realistically what you plan to do with 10 times the property.
Well, it's not, even though the property is that size, the usable space of that property isn't. By the building, when you take the building footprint out, there's some areas that, I don't know what you call it, lowlands, where it's kind of a floodplain area. By the time you get the usable space for outdoor storage, it gets down to about no more than 5 acres. So it's quite a bit less than the overall site. We weren't planning on going very far back. In fact, that whole back end, we're probably at least 100 feet away from the closest, or the homes that are to the back. So we're not maxing out the site. Our ambition is, right now, the shop that I have now today, I share it with another company. We built that back in 93 or 4. And he's added some trucks and equipment over that time, and I have as well, so it's just, it's very difficult to operate out of that site. I've looked for a place to move at least the crack filling stuff out of that site to relieve that pressure.
But we were just handed pictures of like 4 or 5 trucks. I mean,
Yeah,
are you
no,
eventually going to be 20 truck business?
We have more than that.
More than that.
Yeah.
these are just examples.
Those are just examples of the trucks. We have, currently we have 4 of the flatbeds, and there's 4 box trucks, and there's 4 of the tanker trucks that you saw. We have a sweeper truck. We're not gonna, my plans are not to get much larger than that. It starts, it's the market that we serve. There's 3 or 4 companies in the Chicagoland area that do that, and there's a balance right now to the amount of work and the amount of companies that are able to provide that service. So it's not a service that is an ever-growing kind of a thing, because it doesn't, there's not that many new municipality roadways that are constantly going down and being built. So it's a finite amount of work for that on an annual basis. So we're just trying to, get a decent market share of that and maintain it.
Follow-up question, if I may. One for the board, and the first one being, lost my train of thought here for a second. What is the limitations of the change in zoning from I to industrial zoning? What is he able to actually do legally with that zoning change? Do we need to be concerned about, even though the fact that these things don't currently happen on site, that they could potentially happen on site because he so chooses to do that, even though that's maybe not the manner in which the business is run right now, that it could be in the future? And I would also encourage the board to consider the economic impact of the future, tax dollars that could come in. This property is right in a very commercial roadway, and Is this the type of business that we want to have representing this area as Route 30 becomes even more busy than it is now? Obviously, there's safety concerns with the size of trucks coming in and out, as infrequently as they might be.
When you rezone to an I district, there are certain items that are permitted and certain items that are special use, and then there are things that you can't do in an I district. And in an I district, you have obviously more ability to do things than you do in the A2 district, which is what, they don't even zone property A2 anymore. So, let me see. Somewhere I have, somewhere I have the I2 zoning out, and I'll look for it and try and get it to you.
Basically, if they get the zoning, they can do whatever is.
They can do what is permitted, that is absolutely the case, there's no question about that. But basically what he's looking for is construction, sales and service, a contractor's yard
Absolutely.
for the storage.
And his concern is just the future.
Pardon me?
And his concern is just the
Obviously.
future.
One more question, will there be any fuel dispensing or anything like that?
Dave, when your vehicles aren't being used or being stored there, will they be stored in the area where there's containment?
For this containment.
Concrete floors, where the trap systems, so say a diesel fuel tank
Oh, yeah.
does,
I would
Right.
imagine I have that in Mokina now.
so you won't store any vehicles outside on a dirt or a gravel?
In the winter time,
parking lot?
when, we're gonna try to get as much stacked inside as we can. I find that's beneficial for the vehicles and the equipment themselves.
How big of a building are you planning to build?
Oh, there's one there. It's a 10,000 square foot building, so I mean, I can get quite a bit in there.
Laurel Sims, Christie Drive. What's the other stuff that won't be inside, that will be stored outside?
The box fans probably don't need to be inside. The tank trucks will be inside. The flatbeds won't need to be inside. The kettles will be inside. Those kind of things.
Anything else? I mean, we need to get kind of specific.
Well, that's all we have. I mean,
Compressors.
just,
Sweet.
what's-
So box
Rob-
fans and flatbeds outside?
Yeah, yeah,
Do you foresee anything else?
no.
John Fair, 25901 Courtney. Two questions. One, what time in the morning and what time in the evening does your trucks roll in and out?
They don't, like I said, they don't really operate out of there on a daily basis. When they do move out, it's usually 7 o'clock.
And you talked about the trucks are going to be on concrete or in a building, but this picture shows nothing but
Right,
dirt.
no, that's a gravel paved, that's a gravel area that we have behind the building.
That's an eyesore, really, what it is. But
Well, as far as containment though, I was looking here, there seems to be a lot of oil leaks all over here.
Yeah.
I see oil leaks all over the place. And then when you have equipment like compressors and different things, and you do pressure washing, you mentioned that as far as pressure washing, I don't have any diesel vehicles and stuff. And people, when they put the diesel in the trucks, you pressure wash it, that's going on to the ground. And, most of us, none of us do, most of us take our cars to a car wash. And it's not a commercial type vehicle, it's, it's people's personal cars. And, when you do pressure washing of your compressors and your different equipment, you're gonna be washing quite a bit of different diesel fuel and greases and stuff down.
I really don't experience a lot of what you're saying. I mean, I'm not saying,
There's some nice
I
spots all over there, because those trucks are probably not kept up as well as people's cars are as far as the leaks and stuff as far as.
they're more so. They're more so, because I can't have the breakdowns. It kills them. So, I mean, those trucks.
I've never had a car with any leaking of any of my cars ever. This kind of begs the differ.
I would challenge that those are oil leaks, because there is no oil leaks laying around the backyard.
In any regard, I think that line of questioning, I'm sorry, is
Oh, that's fine.
really, because it's important
We hear you.
to focus on the fact that we have well water.
Yeah.
So I think that whether or not anybody is willing to take that chance of if it is oil or if it's not, If you have city water, maybe you would. If you have well water, maybe you would think a little bit differently about it. And I just really feel like that's the point that we're trying to really kind of make sure is understood.
And I also see you have a very popular fishing hole as well.
That's correct.
And
Don't tell anybody.
All right, I'll do the math.
Don't tell anybody about it.
Exactly where we go.
Kirk Hudson, Christie, 11545. That's exactly one of the points I wanted to bring up was we have a creek that goes all the way across the back, and it feeds into a pond. So if there is residue that is coming off, I wanted the board to hear that. It is gonna go in that creek because as he spoke, coming off the back of his shed that he wants to purchase, or barn or whatever it is, it's a slope and it goes right in that creek. And then it goes right into a big pond and, again, will affect the ground, the groundwater, and then also there's a lot of wildlife, there.
Where's the creek?
Right behind,
Right.
between our house,
So here's a perspective.
right where it goes down
Yeah,
and
I'd
where
like
all
to
those
see it.
trees
it
are.
abuts to the property.
And the ponds are connected.
And they're all
Yes.
connected.
Oh, I see, okay.
Mr. Kavanaugh, if I could just ask, because I'm just a little bit confused, because we know that the board doesn't have any authority with the planning commission, and they don't have a planning commission, so.
I understand that.
Okay, so I guess I'm just confused, unless this has come up prior to this meeting, and I've been to most of these meetings, what is being requested of the people, and what are the people requesting of the board? Or is this just informational and a
I think
chance
this
for
is
them to ask
informational. I
questions?
was called by Deb and asked, and she indicated that Chuck had said that he was going to hold a public hearing. Well, it's not a public hearing,
Okay.
okay?
This is an
It's not a formal
informational,
public hearing, but
information.
we agreed to come because we think it's important that people understand who we are and what we're doing. I mean, that's,
And do you, like, is this a good representation of all the people that are affected by this, do you think?
No,
No,
No.
many, many more.
many, many more. I feel though that, because the June 2nd, June 9th, and June 18th meetings are meetings where decisions are gonna be made. I think, and because we had very little notice on this particular one, I think last Friday is when we learned of this for the first time. The June 2nd, June 9th, and June 18th, there will be, I think, an abundance of people that represent the entire community. We really felt like it was important to understand and hear what was actually being proposed.
Sure.
I think though, in all due respect, the issue that we have beyond the actual facility that's being proposed is the zoning, quite frankly. Regardless, it could have been somebody else and not Mr. Denler. It's truly, that area is A2. And to change it to an industrial zone has ramifications for all of us. And that's really what we want to focus on as well. So it's really great that we're hearing about what Mr. Denler is planning to do, but we're very concerned about just rezoning in general.
That leads me to my question. Once a property is rezoned, what are the ramifications going forward if he decides to sell his property? Can that property be transformed into something that's also categorized as
Sure it can.
I2?
Absolutely.
And then could that person put something on there that may not be so friendly as storing trucks?
Right.
And
They
can you
could
just,
do, if this is zoned I1, that means that you can do the permitted uses in an I1 district.
could you describe some of that exposure? What
An
that
airport.
could
Well,
possibly be?
I mean,
I-1 could allow an airport,
pardon
on the
me?
high side, an airport.
Well,
I-1 zoning in Will
no.
County says an airport's allowed, so that's,
You know, saying airport is.
large recycling facility is allowed in that.
Okay, indoor,
Right.
indoor.
We have a humongous one off of Cloud Creek Drive, it's about 150,000 square feet.
Okay.
It does probably 300,000 tons a year.
Okay.
And it's I-1/I2.
That's
but
right.
It's all allowed the
If
same.
you want to
so-
build the building to do that, 150,000 square feet, which would be roughly 3.5 acres. When you have 5 acres worth of floodplain on the site, you're not going to be able to do it.
But I agree, it's the what if.
Okay.
If there's 5 acres that are available, I think I-1 allows you to cover up to 60%
Mhm.
of the land, I believe. So there could be 6 acres square of a building there, and if you get the I-1 zoning,
You can't get 6 acres and you only have 5 acres, it's not.
but it could be 5 acres of building, so.
Okay. Additionally, I'm curious as to why on the application, the use is termed as sales and services while
That's
I'm hearing storage.
That's the classification in the zoning ordinance.
Okay, okay. So
That's the
that language
classification.
issues.
I have to tell you, the Will County zoning ordinance was changed about 4 years ago, and it's a much more difficult ordinance to read today than the prior one was. I think you had experience with the prior one. This one is very, very difficult to follow, but that's the base.
But the key, to take on what Julie's saying, the key term here is once you get that in,
You have that
rezone.
zoning.
You could get a rezone for a preschool, turn around and sell it to somebody else, and they could put a blacktop factory on it, right?
No,
Why not?
no, because a blacktop factory or a
Hot mix.
concrete mixing plant requires I-3 with a special use permit.
So he could never melt his own, your tar blocks or whatever?
I don't think so.
Even if you have a special use permit?
We're looking for I-1, not I-3.
Right, but could you get a special use permit to go with the I-1 to do that?
I'd have to look and see what, not a batch plant, okay, but somewhere here I have the darn I-1.
I know we, just, let me interject, I know we've got still a few more questions.
All right,
here.
let's-
It's 8:21, let's go till 8:30 and then.
I'll
and then
stick
we got-
around. I'll stick around.
You wanna wait, okay, you wanna?
Yeah.
Okay,
No,
fine.
but I mean, this lady.
All right, wait, hang on for a minute, so do you wanna stay around, so if somebody wants to talk to you after the meeting?
Sure.
Or even even during the meeting, go
Yeah,
outside and
yeah,
talk?
I'm willing.
All right, let's do that, so let's
Yeah.
just stop at 8:30.
Go ahead.
Arlene Shea, 11328 Christie Drive. Something that you brought out as to why are we here and what can we do? Something that you spoke of when the first thing you said at the meeting is that you could weigh in Will County for us, and all of you as our elected township employees, we want you to feel the weight that we're feeling. I was writing down a few points. As long as we're running short of time, I would like to be heard then about those points. The first thing that you had mentioned was describing the property and your business history. So to us as homeowners have 20 and 30 years history here, raising our children, etc. Our home is our pride. So I wanted to mention that, as apples to apples. The other thing I wanted to mention is we have many schools here. We're all tax burdened on the schools. And many school buses cross where you are going to be in the mornings and coming home from school. And that scares me, with big trucks coming and going. And I just think that alone is a high risk for our school children and something to be considered. Something you said before when we were asking what were you going to do on the property is you said, no, not too much, you're just going to kind of leave it. Well, it doesn't look real good right now. And if your intentions are not even to make it look any better, why would we be happy with something like that? I just have a few other points I wanted to mention
Let me quickly mention that Will County has a landscaping ordinance, and when you're rezoning and going in, they will require a landscape plan.
And the other points are, let's see, I did want to know what laws are in place to know what you could do once you have the property. For example, all the pictures that you brought tonight so that we could see kind of a neat looking building and area is on 1 acre. You're purchasing close to 10. So what you're showing us that you're having us think is what it's going to look like is 1/10 of what it's going to look like. Because you have more property. And I guess I feel, we kind of come from a business background. Any business person who says, he just kind of wants to do a little better in business, I can't trust, because any businessman wants to do really well. So that makes me think that you have ideas more so than what you're telling us.
We're doing well now. I need more space.
So, and then I'll just finish my points, so that others can speak. I am considered, Lawyer Kavanaugh, mentioned US 30 is a major highway. US 30 is a historical, beautiful highway, meant to be beautified. It is not meant to have an asphalt company on the corner. So you need to know that also, everyone on the board. That's the other thing that I noticed. And then, let's see. I guess what I don't see at all is how this, in any way, shape, or form, helps us as homeowners, the taxpayers, how it helps us with anything. There's nothing really improved, nothing really looks good, we're not benefiting at all, and we're on pins and needles because I want to go out in my backyard and barbecue and not smell asphalt. I want to hear the birds and the egret, and I don't want to hear trucks banging around. This is what I'm trying to preserve, and I agree with the lady in front who said we need to stop this at the zoning level, because, and I'll just end with this point, we all grew up in school with the books that said, look at all the pictures. What picture doesn't fit? This doesn't fit in our picture. Does everyone remember those books? This is what we learned in school. And so to let something like this go easily, I respect businesses. There are 2 industrial parks, one further north on Route 30 that's already an established industrial park. There's another one on 95th Street. Please take a look at those. They're very close. And you mentioned about all the contracts you have with Naperville, Oswego, and that's all wonderful, except all those hot trucks are coming back very close to where we live. So I just wanted to say that, and thank you, everybody, for letting me.
I've got a quick question.
Yeah.
Let's just do a hypothetical. Year, 2 years, 3 years down the road, we find something in our well water. What are you gonna do?
I don't know what you find in your well water.
But it doesn't matter, it's hypothetical. So we find something, some kind of runoff, something that you don't know about now, you couldn't predict. This is what we're concerned about, that you might not know, but we find something and it's related to your company.
I would defer to David.
If it's related to David, then he's got a problem with the EPA and with you.
That's impossible to prove.
Yeah.
It's impossible to prove. There are many instances in other communities where things have happened, where well water or whatever has been polluted by chemicals. And who's to say where it came from?
Lost form of water.
Yeah.
I know that you're gonna cut this short, so I think that what we would like to make sure, again, is that you're considering all of the issues that we've raised. Most importantly, and top of list, is rezoning in general. Secondary, obviously, to that is the concern that we have about industrial coming into the area for property value, for the issue with respect to the unknowns going forward, the issues with respect to any contamination that may go into the creek, which literally is right behind that property, and then into the pond, ingress, egress issues, school buses that are, in the area, trucks, albeit in your situation, not too often, but again, I'm not really worried about you, I'm worried about the next person or the business growing. And I feel like it's really important as representatives of Wheatland Township for you to consider all of those factors and weigh in a manner that is aligned with how we feel.
Okay, yeah.
One quick question. When you do weigh in, how do we understand what your response was to the county.
Well,
Are you gonna publish that, how you
that's
voted?
a very good point, because I was just gonna ask, first of all, I was gonna suggest that, we've got, our business card should be out here, but anything that you wanna put in writing to us, just supervisor's office at wheatlandtownship.com will be fine. So we wanna hear more. We've heard from probably 4 or 5 people, but